That was a great way to start.
Impressive.
Excellent.
We're live.
We're live. Welcome to the Finished Business Podcast.
Welcome back, Nick McQueen.
Welcome back,
Thank you.
Nick McQueen.
I'm back. Got a haircut.
Look at you go.
But welcome to the Finished Business Podcast. I'm your host. They just said my name. My Twitter handle's down below.
Also say it for those who are just listening.
For those who are just listening.
At Nick McQueen.
At NKMCQUAIN. That's my Twitter.
All right. And I'm Brad at RedSquirrel_7 on Twitter.
And I'm at Lance the Vegan.
Because he is Lance the Vegan. And we have our special guest today who was here last week talking about immigration.
Jake the Carnivore.
Jake
no,
the
it's,
Carnivore?
At J Carnivore.
At J Carnivore.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds like a really good rap name. Is that already a rap
J
name?
Carnivore.
Well, I'm about the furthest guy from a rap. you ever
Speaking
did
of
see.
rappers, in 2 weeks, we're going to have special guests on our podcast.
They're rappers.
Yep, they're
Wow.
rappers, Fat Cash and Co.
I've never actually met an honest to goodness rapper before. I'm not sure.
Well, they all have day jobs, too.
Right. They're not real. They're just fake
No.
rappers.
No.
What
We
do they
should say
rap?
that to them when they
I
get
will.
here.
I'll be all out.
Defend
Don't worry.
yourself.
Yep.
Our stream is having some difficulties.
Are we not live?
We are. It's just YouTube is being weird.
Are we on? Because you're not talking to your microphone.
Yes, we're on.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So, I have some current events. Just a couple of them. It's
Been a slow week.
No, well, I
Oh.
skipped last week.
Yeah.
I wasn't here last week, so.
Well, we got the immigration from the old Trumpster last week, so that's up to date.
Well, so was that at the point in time where he changed it to keep the families together?
Oh, I don't think that was...
that was before
Like
that.
the day after
Yeah.
we had this podcast.
Yeah, I think it was the day after.
That
So,
morning, he came out and said,
which is good.
That poor crying kid in the picture can stay with her family. Yeah.
So do you think that he did it because he actually cares, or do you think he did it because everybody else cares?
everybody else cares.
I'd say it's probably accurate.
Yeah, the latter, definitely.
Sure.
Have to conform to the political correctness.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's not Trump's
Trump-
MO, though.
No, but it's what he did.
You have to give everyone like one or two.
Every now and again, you got to do it just because. Yeah. That
Yeah.
was a pretty bad one. There was a very very large outroar. Not good.
Uproar?
Uproar. Yeah.
Outcry?
Outcry. yeah. You know what I mean.
Outroar? You heard it here
there
first.
there were a
That's Lance the Vegan 2018.
Outroar.
tweet that right now. Outroar.
Outroar.
All right.
There were a lot of articles about airlines, like really quickly putting statements out saying that they don't support this and they won't transport children. Like I'm assuming after the fact, back to their parents. So that's kind of weird to me that the only people after he made that law, amending it, saying that the families will stay together, all of the airlines put out statements saying that we will not fly any of these children.
Interesting.
Well,
And that they've done it before, they don't like it, or that there's been pictures
Problems or something.
online of it happening. Oh, like a group of kids in like gray jumpsuits, like all in a group on a plane, like a big, huge 747 plane.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Or
Yeah.
like
I've
Home
never heard of
Alone.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty sure that's a
well,
movie, Jake.
well, it is a kid that was alone though.
yeah.
Well, he got
On a plane.
He
But-
figured out how to like mess up and like this is before they had like barcode scanners and
Oh,
you
yeah,
couldn't get
yeah.
on the plane without your ticket type of an operation.
Yeah. So I don't know
It's not
why.
a problem anymore.
Okay.
I don't know why that just the airlines were the only people making a fuss about this, and that was interesting to me because I didn't hear anybody else. Because like when an NBA player does something bad or a golfer does something bad, they lose their endorsements, and people are really quick to be like, "Hey, we're not a part of this person anymore."
Yeah, old Tiger Woods and Nike just like
Yeah.
had a falling out there. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, yeah.
Yep.
So that was interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but then you have certain things like kneeling for the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem.
National anthem
Sorry.
of football games. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had some people who supported it and were like, yeah, and then you had other people who didn't support it, and so companies were kind of stuck in the middle. Well, do we continue to endorse this guy or do we stop endorsing this guy? And I think it happened both ways
Yeah.
for political stuff.
Most of those people have to be really careful because a large amount of their money, or their revenue, comes from endorsements
Sure.
and being in positive political light with people.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Well, and I personally think that businesses should stay politically neutral as much as possible, unless you are a business that is just going to be political because of the nature of your business, like gun manufacturers.
Sure.
I
You're
don't-
probably going to have to be pro-gun.
I think you
Yeah.
I think you should do what you want.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
I mean,
I think it's totally okay for Chick-fil-A to
Understand
not,
the
like,
consequences.
give people free abortions if they don't believe that abortion should be a thing that should.
So are you talking about the chicken people?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A?
I don't think they
What do
serve just chicken. It's a restaurant
It's a
chain.
restaurant.
I
chain,
know,
yeah.
but what does that have to do with abortions?
But they're Christian, right? So the people that own Chick-fil-A, they're Christian and they don't believe that people should be allowed to have
Oh.
abortions. So
Okay.
they don't. Part
support
of
Planned Parenthood.
yeah. So they don't support it. I mean, they're not stopping it, but they don't support it, and they're not okay with like giving their employees the insurance to cover it for free on their dollar when they don't believe in it.
It is not
Right.
part of their benefits package.
And I think that they have the right to do that.
Sure.
I think that they'll probably
I think
lose
that
business and gain business from it.
Right.
But
And
Yeah.
I think that a cake manufacturer is perfectly capable of refusing service to a gay wedding because
Yeah.
of their own personal beliefs. There's nothing wrong with that.
right.
It's all
But
old
I'm
news,
pretty
though.
sure they
It's
went
not
out of
old news
business.
because the Supreme Court ruled in their favor
thought they-
very recently.
Pushed it back down. They said they weren't going to see it.
They did, and they ruled in their favor.
hmm
You're,
But
you're,
I'm-
you're allowed to basically refuse service for any reason if you're just your own personal business. That's
But I'm
basically
pretty-
what happened, which is kind of great.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they went out of business though.
Yeah, I think they did. They
Because
got
of
so
all-
much bad publicity on Facebook that they're just like done.
Yeah, which sucks for them. But that's one of the reasons why I think it's important to be politically neutral in a for a business.
Yeah.
But that's my own opinion.
Okay. Current event number 2.
All right.
So I think we're all car people.
Yes,
Sure. Yeah.
There's
Lance kind of.
I own a car.
well,
he,
okay.
he owns a vegan car.
All right,
It
so
runs
I have
on
a-
cooking oil.
I have a friend who says that the
Bear
engines.
meat.
Continue, Mr. McQuain.
I'm listening.
So I have a friend who says that the engines that they're coming out with these days are the best motors. We're talking about not carbureted, but like
Fuel injected?
yeah, combustion engines.
Okay.
Sorry.
Ru-
So the engines nowadays are the best possible. Technology is the best. They're pretty much maxed out. They can't really.
You don't think they're going to make any more improvements when it comes to combustion engines?
Well, that's
I-
what they thought a long time ago too.
So yeah, they've been doing really well. So I saw an article about a new GMC truck coming out, and I've heard a lot of stories about having 4-cylinder turbo diesel motors in trucks because they have a lot of torque. So I was looking at this one article, and it was talking about the truck's going to come standard with a 2.7 liter engine.
Seems a little undersized for.
Extremely, yeah, and
Well,
Well, I've seen the new Ford F-150 aluminums. They've got like a turbocharged 3.0 liter, and it seems to be doing okay,
Yeah.
even towing. So who knows?
right, and this one has an 8-speed automatic transmission.
No, I don't. I've got a 3-speed automatic transmission, but I've got an 8-cylinder.
He wasn't
engine.
talking
He
about
wasn't
your
talking
truck.
about you. We're talking
Oh.
about new technology. Yours is from 1941 or something crazy. You're like that. I'm surprised
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
the
still
new
running.
trucks are coming with smaller motors, with like better transmissions and more gears,
Mhm.
and it just blows my mind to think of that. That's where we're going with these, because
Yeah.
you know,
Well, more gears definitely helps. That's part of the deal.
with a smaller motor, it makes sense.
Yeah, well, and it used to be that having a manual transmission, if you knew how to drive it properly, you could get better gas mileage than an automatic transmission, and
That's just
it's
simply
flipped now.
not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just can't be as good as the computer.
Well, manual transmissions. Me and you are pro manual transmissions.
I'm
These guys too.
I'm absolutely pro.
Yeah.
Pro man. Yeah.
I'm not gonna call myself a pro.
Well, yeah,
I know how.
He still
This-
kills it every now and again.
yeah. This was last time I saw Jake drive a stick. It was. And he,
I can
yeah,
get around.
yeah,
He hasn't driven a stick shift car for more than a period of a couple of months at a time. So.
Okay, finally, I'm drawing this out. I'm sorry, but finally, what's going on with Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is down to $6,100 something as of today. I checked it today, and as far as I can tell, the reason for that is
6,000.
6,100
Okay.
something.
Yep.
And the reason being, I think, is because there was a huge hack not too long ago where a bunch of Bitcoin was stolen from a big place, and I don't remember where, I don't remember who did it and whatever, or the amount that was stolen, but I think it was like millions of dollars worth. So Bitcoin is down right now.
So what happened? Public opinion faltered, and people are like pulling away from it because of the hack.
Yes.
Okay.
People are selling, and so the price goes down. It's just like stocks.
Okay. So I see tons of articles saying that it's going to be okay, like that it's going to rebound.
I think so.
And
I think it will too. But
I think it's fishy though. I'm suspicious of these articles because I think people have a lot of money tied up in this, and they want to promote it looking good.
here's the thing. So there's a lot of people that missed out on Bitcoin.
Right?
A
'Cause
lot of people.
How high did it get?
So there were people
20,000 at one point.
At one point, it was all the way up to 20,000. But there were people that were like, "All right, I bought Bitcoin at 6 cents and sold it at 30 cents, and they made like way more than like any stock can like do in that particular amount of time. That's a huge increase, right?
Okay.
It's like penny stocks.
Right. But if you'd have bought it at 6 cents and waited till it was 20 grand, are you kidding me?
You'd be a whale, wouldn't you?
You just like
You turn $10 into $17 million.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's just unreal. But that's the thing is there's like a majority of people in the world that have missed out on that.
Okay, so I also
There's a couple people that actually like forgot about their Bitcoin long enough until it hit 20,000. They're like, "Oh crap, I got like 6,000 of those that I got back in 2011."
6,000.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine.
When it first came out, you
Somebody
could
bought
mine
pizza for 30,000 Bitcoins for crying out
Yeah.
It
loud.
was worth way less than a penny. Way back
Well,
when.
yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that. So I'm also on the other side of this. I'm also seeing a lot of articles that are saying people are backing it with money, or they're introducing more Bitcoin into the system.
They're not introducing more Bitcoin in the
No.
system.
Am I
they're-
wrong
they're
with this?
They're producing other things that aren't Bitcoin into the system.
right. Well, and there are more Bitcoins being produced because it hasn't hit its plateau yet. So miners technically are producing more Bitcoins, but it's super slow right now.
Okay,
Extremely. Yeah.
a couple of podcasts ago, there's 17 million into 21 million total Bitcoins.
Yeah.
So they're almost.
Yeah, but it's so slow that the
Like
amount
top-
that miners are creating is not affecting the price
Okay.
in
It's
a
gonna
significant
get
way.
completely mined out at some point in the near future.
And stabilize?
I
It's
think
supposed to.
Eventually, it's supposed to stabilize, but will it really? Who knows? Warren Buffett says don't buy it. A bunch of other people says buy it.
Yeah, there's
Who
there's
knows what to think?
polarizing.
Right. Well, in these articles that you're talking about that are saying like, oh, Bitcoin's going to be fine, you should buy it,
Yeah.
or you should stay in. There's this thing with stocks. There's a name for it, but I forget what it is. Where big names like Warren Buffett or somebody big,
Endorsements?
yeah, they will say, hey, this stock is going to skyrocket in the next month. Everybody buy it. And what happens is everybody buys it. The price skyrockets because everybody bought it. And then that person who said to buy it cashes out because
Shorts.
they bought it before everyone else.
They
Is that
already
what it's
had it.
called? Shorting a stock?
No, that shorting a stock is when you bet on a stock going down.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of.
So no, this person. Let's say that. Let's say stock for Intel is $10 a share, and this guy buys a share for $10, and then he has a lot of weight with the community. He says,
Okay.
everybody buy Intel. So then it goes up to $100.
Yeah.
And he sells his $10 share.
Right. So
And
that's
it's like artificially inflated.
yeah.
Right.
So that same guy, instead of saying positive things, he says
Says
negative things, and then
he can short it.
buys the short.
Right. So I think it could
Yeah,
be
these
this. It could be the same thing with these articles. They're saying, "Hey, everybody, buy Bitcoin because it's going to be okay," or "Hey, everybody who's in it, stay in it because that person."
Has a bunch already. They want it to go up again so
Yeah.
they can sell.
Get their money back,
Right.
or they want to be back up to being
And I
billionaires.
know a whole lot of
Or they
people
just
that,
bought it.
that
Yeah.
bought Bitcoin when it was like somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15,000 because they're like, oh man, it went up to 20. It's going to go even
Oh.
further.
Lost.
It went down a little
They're
bit,
boned.
and now it's down
They're
all the way to
boned.
6,000. I think that when Bitcoin stabilizes, it's going to probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000.
Can-
apiece.
I think so too.
10,000. Okay.
You heard
so
it here first, guys.
Finished Business Podcast exclusive.
So everybody, buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna ask.
All right. Well, shall we move on to our topic
Yeah.
of strange regulations or
Weird laws.
weird laws?
Weird laws. Yeah.
Weird laws.
So we've got Jake the carnivore here is going to start naming off some laws, and you'll get the reactions from the rest of us.
And these are all legit laws. We'll double check they're legit.
Well, this is all according to dumblaws.com.
Okay,
100%
dumblaws.com.
real. Yeah, you
Yes.
can read everything you hear on the internet, guys.
Yep.
Okay, and Jake is going to tell us the law, and then we're going to try and figure out how it came to
the
be.
situation that led to the
Yeah.
law.
Okay.
Yeah. So all of these ones here in the near future are going to be from Washington State.
Which is where we're located.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Close to home, yeah.
All right. So the first one, the harassing of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or other undiscovered subspecies is a felony punishable by a fine and/or imprisonment.
Wow.
Let's break that down real quick. So they're
Okay,
saying
so if you harass Sasquatch, you can be fined or sent to jail.
Wait, no. Wait, read it again.
The harassing of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or other undiscovered subspecies
that could be anything.
Could be the chupacabra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is a felony
Oh, Nessie.
punishable by fine and/or imprisonment.
So, does that mean that, like, if you say you believe in Sasquatch and I make fun of you for it, that's harassment,
Yep.
or is it me like finding Sasquatch and harassing Sasquatch?
I think if you harass
So-
Sasquatch and like didn't give him his jerky or something, he'd like throw you across the room or something.
Right? He should be able to defend himself.
Yeah, I think
Why are we
Sasquatch
making
is
laws?
perfectly
So-
capable of defending himself.
So are you saying the Second Amendment should apply to Sasquatch?
Yes.
Is he a U.S. citizen? I don't think
You
so.
heard it here
If he was
first.
born in the U.S., he's a U.S. citizen, right?
Well, we don't know you.
Sasquatch rights.
I just want to say this topic is ridiculous.
Hashtag Bigfoot rights. Bigfoot
Right.
pride.
Yep.
We're all people. Well, you can't
So how
say we're
about
all
the Loch
human.
Ness monster?
Yeah, you
That
can't
would
say
be a
Sasquatch
He's
is
not
a
in
person.
Washington.
subspecies.
But wait.
Yeah. So, but if you were caught in Washington
Harassing
harassing the Loch
Loch
Ness
Ness monster?
So it says undisclosed. Undisclosed.
undiscovered.
Undiscovered.
subspecies.
What if you
yeah.
just make one up? It's
So
undiscovered.
if deep gnomes come up from the
Your
or
backyard.
dwarves, the dwarves come up. That's undiscovered subspecies, right?
Correct.
Call the feds.
So
yeah.
okay, but how do you
But that's
think this?
harassing them if you call the feds on them, right?
How do you
This is
think
just a
this
state
came
law.
about? Do you think there was just like one guy in town that was really annoying and was like
Does
talking
this
crap
discuss
about
a
Bigfoot?
particular municipality, or is this like the entire state?
Yeah. Good
This
question.
this is of Washington. It does not say which city.
Okay.
Well, to be fair,
I think this is a statewide law.
I mean, this seems like something that would come out of like Leavenworth or something like that.
There's
you
a
know,
lot
way
of-
up
This is
north.
Skamania County, Washington.
Skamania County.
I'm not sure where that
I'm
is.
not sure where that is.
That-
and
and
we
this
live
law
here,
was
yes.
this law was passed in 1969.
Okay.
Such
back-
creatures
back
shall
when-
be
Before the internet.
from-
Back when Dad was 10, someone's been making fun of Sasquatch. Mm-hmm.
County Commissioner Conrad said it was not an April Fool's Day joke.
Does it say how the law was created? Well, hold on. Let's speculate first. I think that it was either a mayor or somebody in power that believes in Bigfoot,
obviously.
and
Yeah.
people were making fun of him,
Yep.
and so he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make it illegal to make fun of me.
Okay, so what
Ah.
if that mayor, their town, their sole revenue was they have an exhibit of where someone saw Bigfoot one time, and maybe they want to make
They
money
got
off
they
of
got
it.
like a cast of his foot or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be it too. So there was somebody coming in going,
That's
yeah, if this was real, that's fake. Yeah,
Hurting
and
their
it
business.
hurting their economy. I could see that.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It all comes down to the money.
usually.
So, according to what I read, it's mainly looks like it's to protect undiscovered species or extinct species or something like that.
So if aliens come to Washington, you're safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
The aliens are.
Yep.
But if you
Yeah.
are let's say you're playing Pokemon and you look in a bush and discover this thing, it would no longer be undiscovered, right?
No
'Cause
more
you're
rights
finding it.
because there's no more
It's
rights
no
for
longer
discovered
undiscovered.
species.
I found you.
Yeah.
There go your rights.
There's the legal loophole right there if
Yep.
you hire a good lawyer.
there.
Yep. He's discovered, right?
Caught him.
There he is.
All
right. Let's
N.K.
go to the next
McQueen law, or maybe vegan and carnivore law
And
office.
associates.
And
And associates.
Yeah, there you go. You guys can be the
All right.
associates.
Second weird law. It is illegal to attach a vending machine to a utility pole without prior consent from the utility company.
Okay.
Interesting.
So somebody like was probably taking power straight off the pole for their vending machine.
Right. They were probably stealing electricity.
Yep.
Probably. Yeah.
That seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So, all you brand new vending machine companies out there, be careful when you're attaching stuff straight to the pole.
Yeah. Make sure you call the power company
P-
first.
PP&L and
Yeah. No person may walk about in public if he or she has the common cold.
Where is
What?
this a lot?
Washington.
Washington?
Yep.
Well,
So-
I feel like people are breaking that one on a regular basis.
So what constitutes a common
I think
cold?
that's just one of
is
those
that
ones.
just a slight cough, or is that a full-on flu?
Well, I know in the hospital, if you have,
If you have a cold, you're supposed to put a mask on.
yeah, there's a quarantined area for
yeah.
you.
But that's specified by the hospital.
Right.
Well, I think a cold is different than a flu.
yeah, it is.
Well, an extreme cold.
Yeah. So that's interesting then.
Yeah.
I wonder if does it say when that was enacted? Because I wonder if it was around like back when you could just die from the common cold, you know?
back in 1392.
Well, you know.
It doesn't say which or when it was enacted.
You know, I get Snapple facts on my phone.
Oh yeah.
It's just like what's underneath a cap, a
Yeah.
text message Monday through Friday at 3 o'clock. And they send me rules like this all the time. And I'm really pissed off that I didn't bring my phone
Oh yeah.
today
Oh.
because I could just
You got,
scroll
you
up.
got some. Yeah.
Because there was one like last week that was really good about a law.
Huh.
Frustrating.
All right. Destroying a beer cask or bottle of another is illegal.
Beer cask?
Or beer. Let's see here. Yeah, cask.
So destroying other people's drinks is
Yeah,
illegal.
yeah.
Straight
Hold
up.
on.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about Prohibition when they were breaking them all the time?
Breaking it so they wouldn't get caught.
So is this probably after Prohibition? Huh?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking it's more like I'm at the
I'm
bar.
at the bar and you can't like break that over my head. It's like an additional
Oh,
add-on.
like a drinking device. Like what you drink at a cask is what you,
Yeah.
Well,
or
a
is that what you
cask
store it in.
a cask is like what you store it in. But what does it say?
it
Bottle?
says destroying someone else's is illegal.
Destroying someone else's what? Beer
That's how I interpret it.
beer-
Destroying a beer cask or bottle of another is illegal.
or a bottle. So like I could be drinking a beer bottle, and you come into the bar and you grab my beer and smash it,
Like this
It's
beer,
illegal.
you can take it and throw it on the ground, and you'd be breaking the law.
but it's
Yeah.
not a bottle.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's a bottle right there.
That's not a
If
beer
you
bottle.
broke- if you broke that, I'd be kind of mad.
He's
but
pointing
I
at-
wouldn't turn you into the cops.
For those who aren't watching, he's pointing at a bottle of Brad.
Of
Oh goodness.
the Glenlivet single malt Scotch whiskey Founder's Reserve. This is what Lance brought today, and it is delicious. If you like Scotch.
All right. X-rays may not be used to fit shoes.
What?
Oh,
So I think this.
here's somebody did this.
Yeah.
and it ended pretty badly.
Yeah.
From what I'm
How,
gathering
though?
here.
Okay, there's probably some cobbler, right, who didn't have one of those foot sizer things, but used to be a doctor and had an X-ray machine. Was like, I'm going to get precise measurements with this X-ray machine, and they did it, and then they
No.
gave people foot cancer because of all the radiation.
Yeah.
Could be.
So they made it illegal.
Uh-huh. I
Foot
can see that.
cancer.
Foot cancer.
Foot cancer? I think that's
Yep.
the consensus.
Yep.
Foot cancer. Hashtag foot cancer.
So next week, so I'm just saying this right now. Next week, when I bring my phone, I'm pulling out my
All the
laws.
facts?
Yep.
You're
I'm
pulling
gonna-
out
All
all
right.
the facts.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I gotta find those Snapple facts. They're
Yeah.
good.
So you get them on your phone instead of having to drink Snapple?
Yeah,
That's
Well,
pretty
it's
legit.
fun to
little
drink
cheaper, yeah.
Snapple.
it's really cool.
Is it free?
Well, you can't drink
Yeah.
a Snapple every day.
Oh man, that's way
Why not?
better than
So
drinking
it's-
Snapple.
So the story is like 7 years ago, I got a new phone number, and the person who had my phone number previous to me
Had this already.
had the Snapple facts. It had a whole bunch of other stuff too,
Yeah.
of which I've
Cat
canceled.
facts.
But I
Subscribe.
but I
Oh,
kept the Snapple facts, and I've had it forever, and it's special to me. I like
All
it.
right.
All right.
Like the people who say one joke a day, like the people who look at jokes to tell them to their friends.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
tell Snapple facts.
the next law consists
like it.
of 4 words. It says all lollipops are banned.
All lollipops are banned?
I'm gonna look up some more context here.
Okay. You think that maybe maybe people didn't know how to eat the lollipop and they were sticking it in stick first, choking on it?
I think it was probably something to do with kids and kids choking on
Oh,
lollipops.
That's literally all it is. There is no more context.
Let's do some
There's
international.
no context, huh?
No more context.
Okay.
Get out of
Yeah.
Washington.
Let's get, yeah, Washington's
We're
wild.
pretty
All right,
unoriginal.
Choose a state.
Okay. Well, hold on. Just one more thing on the lollipop one.
All right.
My wife and I were actually just talking about that the other day because I thought that was a weird law, but Jake just confirmed it. And we were talking about it. Why would you ban lollipops but not straight up hard candies? Because hard candies are choking hazards, whereas like I guess the lollipop could be, but you got a stick to pull it back out with.
Maybe
Right.
you know a lot of cities are banning straws and plastic silverware. Maybe
Really?
it's an environmental thing.
It's going to go over like a lead balloon.
But aren't most lollipop sticks made of paper?
Yeah.
The paper
It's
can.
like cardboard.
Okay, well, like the city of Seattle,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
entirety.
Like everything.
Banned.
Like, if you go there, it's like everything's wood. You go to get like disposable stuff and it's wood, and you're supposed to
Or
throw it in
bamboo.
you're supposed to throw it in the compost bin, not the garbage bin.
Well,
There,
that's
like
cool.
is no more garbage bin. It's like we took your garbage cans away, and now everything that you get has to be clean for the environment and thrown. Have you been to Seattle recently?
Segue.
No. That
Yeah, it's
gives-
ridiculous.
Place gives me a headache
Yeah.
anytime I'm near it.
I haven't, but segue real quick.
All right.
yeah.
So we were talking about Trump earlier. Trump imposed a bunch of tariffs, and we talked about it lightly.
Impose a tariff on Seattle.
Just build a wall around it.
Focus, guys. So, China takes a lot of the garbage and plastic shit from all around the world,
Mhm.
and they're stopping it. They're just like, hey, we're not going to do that anymore
Oh,
with
yeah.
the United States in protest of the tariffs the United States has.
Yeah.
And so, do you guys know anything about that?
No.
No.
Damn.
This is the first time I've heard of it.
Yeah, so it just makes you think, what happens to our garbage?
Well, that means that Jill Stein's going to be president next. She's going to be like, go green, screw China.
Perfect.
You heard it
There you go.
first.
You heard it first.
Yeah.
Jill Stein, next
Jill
president.
Stein, president 2028.
Who's
or
Jill
whatever.
Stein?
She's the leader of the Green Party,
Yeah,
I
the Green
think.
Party
Oh.
Isn't she?
nominee. She was the nominee for
I
the
think-
2016 election.
Yeah. For the
Didn't-
Green Party.
For the
Didn't
Green Party.
Kanye West say he was going to run for president in
Oh,
2020?
goodness.
He
Can you
did.
I
even
think so.
imagine?
And like Sylvester Stallone did too.
Uh,
All right.
In his,
you know, Arnie got the governor in California, so you
True.
never know.
he's going to get up there and be like, Adrian! And everybody's going to be like,
Okay.
all right.
At that
All
point,
right.
at that point, will very many people get the reference? You'd be missing a genre of people, like the millennials. You'd be like
I'm a millennial. I've seen Rocky.
Generation X. How about that? Generation Y.
I
different.
think millennials are Generation X.
There's whatever generation is right now. The new one's coming
The
out.
new ones coming out are Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Well, what comes after Generation Z?
Okay.
We die.
I don't know. Maybe.
That's it.
Maybe.
Game
Armageddon.
over.
Armageddon.
A quick tangent. I have somebody.
Zombie apocalypse.
Do it like the
Tangent,
Office,
heard.
Yeah, a quick tangent. I have
Like a
this.
segue.
Yeah, this high schooler who's 16 who comes into my shop and volunteers, and today he came in, and he was like, "What's this?" And he points at a cassette player.
Did he bring it in, or did he see it on your desk?
No, it was on the desk. I was working on it for somebody, and he was like, "What's this?" I was like, "That's a cassette player," and he's like, "Huh, I've heard of these," and I was like, "Oh, you've never used an audio cassette?" He's like, "Well, don't they play video too?"
Nah.
And I was like, "Well, there are video cassettes, but they're different."
Close.
Yeah.
Very close.
No,
That's
I
crazy.
think we were talking about this last week, or maybe the week before. How my smaller sister, she didn't know what an overhead projector was. She kind of thought it
Oh.
was like the projector that's like hooked up to the computer
It's
and
over your
everything.
head.
But yeah, that's pretty much what she said. Yeah.
By the
it's
way,
not that.
Projector technology is so cheap right now.
It is
You can get a
incredible.
projector like from the store for under $200. That's
Yeah.
like
5 years ago, I bought a 1080p 3D capable projector.
$2,000. How much?
It was $600.
Oh.
5 years ago.
Which that
They're
same
cheaper
projector
now.
now is probably 2 or 3.
Oh, they're like 150 at Walmart.
Yeah, but
Sorry, I
probably
was-
not.
But they're
probably
not
not
1080p and 3D capable and all that.
They might be 1080p.
You never know.
That's like a standard thing these days.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Maybe it was
They're calling
720.
they're calling HD 720p. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, HD is 720p, and is it UHD is?
whatever.
Or no, full HD is 1080p,
Can see
and
those
UHD
pixels
is
from a mile
4K.
away.
UHD is like 2K, and then there's like a difference between that and 4K.
I thought UHD was 4K. All right. Anyway,
Whatever.
Choose a state.
Let's go
Louisiana,
international.
yeah, international.
Mississippi,
Mexico.
Yeah, we can go crazy. We can go all over the place.
Well, let's do Louisiana first. See if I can find.
Some cities have rules and laws against Chinese people being above ground or outside in their daylight.
We talked about this over at the
Immigration.
at the immigration one when
Yeah.
Chinese people were basically
Yeah.
stopped from immigrating to the United States for quite a long time.
That was very interesting. Yeah.
and
So the thing is that
like places like Seattle would definitely have rules against that.
the thing is that these laws are still there. There's still laws
Yeah,
that
they're
say,
just completely off the books.
but
Yeah.
there's amendments to amend the laws. So but technically the law is still there that Asian or Chinese people can't be outside.
You're breaking the law.
All right, Louisiana. One may not steal someone else's crawfish.
Ooh,
Wait, for serious?
Straight up.
but
Crawfish.
That sounds very Louisiana-ish.
Yep.
Okay, have you ever had crawfish?
but hold on.
What?
At what point do you need to make a law for that?
I mean, it's
It doesn't-
already stealing.
Yeah, it's my property,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Actually, that's not their property. Like, what if what if you're
Specifically, the
fishing it out
crawfish, yeah.
and
The
someone
crawfish
comes and
is their own individual. Oh boy.
someone comes and snatches it off your fishing pole?
I think once it's on your line, it's yours.
Oh,
In my opinion. I mean, I don't know what
yeah.
the legal.
What if I catch the tail and you catch the mouth? And
then
Then
we
you
have
cut it
to.
in half.
Yeah. you get the top part. I get the meaty part.
Okay.
amicable split.
all right.
So, yeah, okay. I mean, that is kind of a stupid law because stealing is already illegal.
Yeah.
Hey, did we say that these two are brothers? Did we make that?
Yeah.
I
No,
think
I
we
thought
said
it
that
was
last
I
week.
think we said that last
Lance,
week.
Lance the vegan and
Man, now
Jake
we can't mess people up.
from State Farm.
I
They are
I think you look
siblings.
close enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we got this pretty well covered here.
So, what's the next one, Jake?
One may not dare another to go onto the railroad tracks owned by another.
Well,
So I bet you this one came about. Some guy was like, "I dare you to go onto old man Cletus's railroad tracks," and then the guy was like, "Oh yeah," and he stood on it, and then a train ran him over.
These are so
There
specific.
you go.
I've got a couple. I've got a couple from Canada. When we're
Is it
done.
really that
Alright.
easy to make laws?
Well,
How do you make a law?
Well,
If it goes to
individual-
court-
individual municipalities can make laws of their own. So, like the city of Walla Walla can make its own law. If you take it to the district's like meeting and all that stuff, and you go through a town hall meeting with it, and you get enough popular opinion backed by it, you can turn it into a local only law.
Okay,
Yeah.
what were you saying though just now about if it goes to court?
yeah. Well, I mean, you could take it to court. Like if he's like, my buddy Festus was killed on the railroad track because, this guy over here dared him to get on the railroad track. Then they might be like, well, we need to make it illegal to do that so nobody else gets hurt. I mean, which is kind of dumb.
No, there's a thing where if a court or a judge rules a certain way one time,
Mm-hmm.
that it becomes law, right? Because you can quote that legal premise.
I don't know how that works.
Because you always hear in the shows where they're like, in Maddox versus so and so, this happened, and they quote trials that's happened before
Yeah, well, you learn that in
to
school.
reinforce.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like in school, they talk about, like Brown versus the Board of Education
Yes,
because it was
exactly.
a historical court case that, put something in law. I think Brown versus Board of Education meant that you can't segregate public schools. Is that what it was, Jake?
I'm not good at that sort of thing.
Okay. And so it was a historic court case that made a huge change in the legal system. So, yeah.
That's where these dumb laws come from. Because someone sued somebody and they won.
Someone sued somebody or somebody complained or
You
Yeah.
stole my crawfish. I'm taking you to court.
right. And I feel like it's one of those things where if enough people agree on it,
Mhm.
they'll take it. And in a smaller town, you know, you don't have to have that many people that agree with it. If you know everybody in town was friends with Festus who died on the railroad tracks, then they're probably going to vote it into law
Sure.
so that nobody else dies on the railroad tracks.
What if everybody wants to steal each other's crawfish, though?
I feel like most people are okay with getting their own
Okay.
crawfish
Yeah.
or buying it from somebody who caught it.
All right.
Sure, yeah.
I would
All
be.
right. Minors may not go into a business with a coin-operated foosball machines unless accompanied by an adult.
Why? Is
Wow.
that gambling or something?
I don't know.
Where's this at? Louisiana?
This is Jefferson Parish, a city law in Louisiana.
Wow. That's
Huh?
very interesting.
Some kid.
And
Screwed
one-
it up for
one
everybody.
more-
Yep.
Yeah.
One more interesting one. Every time a person is seriously burned, he must report the injury to the fire marshal.
To the fire marshal.
Yeah.
That's
Huh.
interesting.
Thought the doctor would probably be good enough, but I guess they wanted to just make sure that everything was safe. You know,
Right.
If you
Yeah.
got burned by something that was an accident, the fire marshal needs to know that the accident's
Was
been
it-
taken care of and that won't happen in the future. Huh?
Well, the fire has
be.
to come from somewhere.
I get to deal
Yeah.
with the local fire marshal on a semi-regular basis. He's a very nice guy, and yeah, he's very safety-minded and a very reasonable person.
Yeah, he came in the other day,
Yeah.
and he was a nice guy. I met
Wait,
him.
what do you mean he came in the other day?
He
As
does,
a perf-
he does inspections on the local businesses.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
things
yeah.
like that, yeah.
So did he come in bringing his computer, or did he come as a professional, like checking to make sure you guys were to code?
Oh no, he was checking if we were to code.
Wow.
Yeah, and he walked around our shop and was like, I mean, you guys are pretty good, but you need to change this and this, you know." And it was just little things. He's like, "It's not that big of a deal. Just change it when you can."
That's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah. I've always dealt with cool fire marshals. I think this is the first time I've dealt with this guy.
Yeah.
I had a different guy last time. But
Well, does that count for like stuff on the floor? Is that like a violation of fire code?
well,
The thing-
extension cables.
Yeah, the things
Oh.
he's looking for are like exit signs, the fire alarm systems are set up right if applicable.
Or extension cables that would start a fire?
right.
Right. Well, they're tripping hazards. I think it's not that they would start a fire. I think it's a tripping hazard if there was a
there
fire.
is a
In the
fire,
way
you
of
need
an
to be,
exit.
You need to be able to have a clear path to an exit that's clearly marked.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, I think the extension, and it's not extension cables at all, like, period. It's permanent extension cables
Oh,
without trip guards. You know, they make those little plastic things.
yeah.
I think that it's okay if you have one of those over it.
Sure.
Are you guys thinking of doing some infrastructure upgrades?
I mean, we don't own the building, so I don't know.
Oh. Very limited then.
Yeah. All right, guys. So in Dorset, which is a country that's not the United States, it says there's a sign on a bridge that says any person willfully injuring any part of this county bridge will be guilty of felony and upon conviction liable to be transported for life by the court. And when it says transported, that means deported to Australia.
Really?
Yeah, it's a
Whoa.
pretty old one.
Wow.
So that's when, like, Canada was still under British rule,
Yeah,
and Australia was too.
right.
I mean, are they still? I mean, they still have the Queen on their
So
currency.
just in case anybody didn't know, Australia back in the day was like where they sent all the prisoners. It was basically a prisoner's island
From Europe.
from everywhere.
from Britain.
Yeah, but Britain was basically half the world back
I
then.
knew that.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
There's been a lot of articles about that, about the generations now. Are they prone to more crime? And there's no, like...
We
There-
can't just send them to Australia anymore.
No.
Guantanamo Bay.
No, what I'm saying is like 3 generations ago was a bunch of thieves or this and that that were sent there because they were bad people. And now their offspring, a couple generations later, how are they doing? And they're doing good. They're actually like normal people. They're not more prone to violence or committing more crimes or anything like that.
Well, I know overall in the United States the crime rate is dropping
Yeah.
at a steady rate.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Well,
if
cannabis is getting legalized all over the place right now.
That's probably the
that's
main reason, right?
that's
there.
part of
There you
it.
go.
But it was dropping before cannabis was legal anywhere. It was dropping like starting in the 90s or something. But I'm sure that if you looked at the stats, that in places since cannabis has been legalized in certain places, I bet you that there's been big drops because there's no longer people getting arrested for possession of marijuana.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple from Canada regarding aircraft. So it is illegal to enter an aircraft while it's in flight, and it's also illegal to jump out of an aircraft without a parachute, and if you do so, you will be fined.
So this guy jumps out of this plane without a parachute and dies, and they like walk up and stick a ticket on his body.
I think that might happen. You
The
never
family has to pay his fine because
Wow.
he's dead.
Hey, there was a guy who jumped out and landed in a net.
There was a guy. Did you
Yeah.
see the guy that had a squirrel suit on but no parachute, and
Yeah,
he flew into like
box.
a big,
Big,
huge
net.
amount. It wasn't nets. It was a huge stack of boxes.
Yeah, cardboard boxes.
Yeah, like
No, I did
empty cardboard boxes. There's a video on YouTube. It's amazing. Yeah. Anyway, he was coming in at like a 1-to-4 angle, like yeah,
Yeah,
squirrel suit, like
one
but no
foot down
parachute.
for every 4 feet forward,
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
and he lived. There
absolutely insane.
there are cases of people jumping out of planes and their parachutes fail or whatever, and they hit the ground and they survive.
Sure, yeah, it happens every now and again.
But it's not very common, I feel.
It doesn't feel very good. Remember,
I'm sure.
remember, you're fired before you hit the ground.
Oh yeah.
So there's one from Montana. If you ride your horse to school, the principal is required to feed it and give it pasture.
Oh yeah.
I'm moving to Montana.
Yeah. Oh,
Serious.
if I lived in Montana, I would like tell all my friends, "Hey, bring your horses to school day." And the
So-
principal would, if they
Every
were,
day.
yeah, especially if the principal was a jerk, you just get everybody to bring their horses to school, and then if he refused to like take care of them, you get him arrested.
That's awesome.
So there's a couple. This is a Reddit article, of course, because that's the way I roll. There's like comments underneath this because everybody's an expert on Reddit. So one that says, "My classmate did this, and our principal's solution was to put the horse in his yard and eat the apples that had fallen off the tree."
There you go.
Oh, that's pretty good.
yeah.
I bet you the horse loved that.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
it did. Yeah.
Horses love apples.
In Singapore, you can't chew gum unless it's for medical purposes.
Well, really? Sounds like middle school.
Oh my goodness.
We had in my middle school,
Your hat
you weren't allowed to chew gum, and so I'm not kidding. We literally had people selling sticks of gum out of their lockers, like a quarter a stick, which is a lot.
It's like a
Yeah.
quarter a pack is like what you buy it for from the
Yeah,
store.
because there's
so.
5 sticks in a pack.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So they were regulating it, creating a black market for it.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing about government regulation.
Yeah, that we could. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, we could go on about that for a while.
It's a small example of.
But it's funny. Middle schoolers creating a gum black market. And seriously, I mean, I can't say that I didn't participate. I wanted gum, you know.
So
I was a criminal at a young age.
Let's create some laws that like ban computers and then sell them
Sell computers in
because
the black market.
the
'Cause-
demand will
Yeah.
be higher, right?
Because then instead of $1,000 computers, they'd be worth like $10,000.
Or bicycles.
So do you think in the future if AI becomes a legit thing and it becomes super powerful, do you think the government will regulate that and say you can't create AI? And then do you think there will be cells that will create AIs and then they'll be hunted like in Blade Runner?
I think let's entertain this idea.
Yeah.
I think that the government would have a pretty good one, and their AI would have to battle these rogue AIs. It's not like
AI battle.
Yeah.
we can see that being like a reality TV show in a couple.
yeah. I think that
American AI warrior.
versus Japan AI warrior.
yeah.
They already have like the robots and everything, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the battle bots?
yeah.
Yeah.
Japan
Yeah.
keeps winning those for some reason.
What are some of the comments?
But I'm serious
on Reddit?
though.
Yeah,
That
okay.
should be how
So
it works.
So you think they would have an AI,
Based
but
on
that would
what?
be against the law,
On
but
the
the
law,
government
that's
is
right.
above the law.
Oh, which one did I? Just
You know.
The
Okay, so we're creating a
Horse?
space force, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I already read those ones.
Which,
comments.
okay, the Space Force,
Yeah.
that's a current event. Space Force.
Oh yeah,
Let's
Trump,
talk
Trump
about
wants
that.
a space force. Yeah,
Let's please
Great.
talk about that.
Okay, so
let's do it. Why not?
in my personal opinion,
What,
like
what
when
are we gonna do? We'll be on the space.
sit around and drink beer in space.
Yeah.
So when I first heard that, I was like, That's awesome. Because Space Force, but then it's also really dumb.
Is that from Spaceballs? What's that
Spaceballs?
from?
I don't think it's from
No,
anything.
The United States of America needs a space force because we're falling behind in space.
Oh, I thought that there was a movie like Spaceballs that talks about that.
But isn't the Space Force like a police force for space?
Yeah, that's what they're kind of going for.
See, and
Yeah.
I mean, I think right now that's kind of dumb.
Sure, yeah.
For now,
There
maybe
ain't there ain't enough people up there to have to worry about.
right.
Well, it's
Maybe
about
in the
people?
future.
It's
Or
gotta
is
be
it about
pe-
weapons?
People. Oh yeah, it's about that too. I mean, you gotta have your own big satellite weapons.
Well,
to-
because for instance, doesn't an intercontinental ballistic missile go up into the
Sure,
atmosphere?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Sometimes up into space and then come back down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how they work. Yeah.
But I think
But we
It-
have all of those, and some.
Oh,
Russia
speaking
has
of
some
that,
too, yeah.
it's cool, but it's dumb.
I read an article where there's this branch of the army that's been up in the air for like 25 years straight,
Mhm.
ever since Pearl Harbor or something like that.
No, this is like Cold War stuff. Yeah.
Cold War shit.
Mhm.
They've been continuously monitoring the skies.
Yeah.
Like 25 years.
Yeah.
Like each taking breaks. It's your turn. Nope, it's your
NORAD,
turn.
No.
It's crazy.
Look out the little window.
25 years for nuclear threats. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
They got satellites for that.
So
It's pretty great.
25 years ago would be in the 90s. It would be 1993.
Just so you guys know, the Cold War never ended. In
Wow,
Chester,
time
England,
flies.
Ooh, conspiracy theories.
Chester, England, it's legal to shoot a Welshman with a bow and arrow after 12 p.m. if they are within the city walls.
Ooh.
It's one that just never made it off the books, but all murder is illegal now, so it's overruled by those laws. Yeah.
So wait, you used to be
The
able to
law's
murder
still there.
used to be able to murder a Welshman before 12 p.m.
With your
Like-
longbow.
No,
In the morning?
You couldn't do it before 12 p.m. in the morning, but you could do it after 12 p.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
so if he's like having his morning tea inside the wall,
Yeah.
he's got until he's done
He's
with his
got-
tea to leave.
Yeah, you got to be outside of the walls by 12 o'clock, or else you're going to be shot.
All right.
But only specifically by bow and arrow.
So wait, but when does that? But when does it start? Is it like midnight to 12, or is it like 9 o'clock at night to 12?
I don't know, man. It doesn't specify.
After you wake up till 12?
Yeah. And if they're there at 2 in the morning, you're probably just going to shoot them anyway because they're like there at 2 in the morning. What are you doing out that late? So,
True.
yeah. I mean, we're talking medieval times if we're going bows and arrows, right? So,
I
What
have,
about a
a,
crossbow? Does that
I have
work?
a cool current event that just came to my head.
okay.
All right.
So they're rating scary movies now by information that people submit from their Fitbits,
Oh,
Oh,
really? By like how
like their heart rates.
riled up they get?
Yeah.
Mhm, Yep.
So people are giving their Fitbit information to these companies, and they all go watch a certain movie and submit it.
Oh, so it's a controlled group.
Yeah.
It's
to do
not just
experiments.
it's not just anybody.
What about that one guy that's always really, really calm and he throws the rating off?
Well, we're talking about scary movies, so it's like an average. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, I mean, he would probably be considered an outlier and be
Yeah, he wouldn't be
Thrown
part of
out.
the control.
yeah. It would be thrown out. He'd be, you'd have this graph of people, right? And he'd be way up here, and you just throw that data out because it's irrelevant,
Right.
because it would skew it.
It's like you eat like 5 spiders in your lifetime when you're sleeping, but it's just like one guy that's had like 5 million spiders that's skewing the results.
There you go.
That's creepy.
He sleepwalks and eats spiders.
In Kentucky, it's illegal to carry an ice cream cone in your back pocket.
Okay, that's a Snapple fact. I think I've heard that before. Yes, that's an example of a Snapple
All right.
fact.
I mean, I can understand why. That sounds pretty messy.
Laundry moms unite. made that
Oh,
law.
man.
Made that law. go.
Laundry moms unite?
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. I just made it up on the spot.
Oh, well, it makes
Oh.
sense, I guess.
Gotta be
Heard it
careful what
first.
you make up on the spot
Yep.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what they say about making up stuff.
it's all made up.
Yeah.
No.
All English males over the age of 14 are required to carry out 2 hours of longbow practice per week, supervised by the local clergy.
All right.
So that must be some sort of
That's another medieval times law. Yeah.
yeah, so that they could be like, okay, all these youngsters need to defend our church.
Well, the 14 back then was like you're basically full grown.
You're an
because you died
adult.
when you're 29. So
Right.
Damn.
yeah,
Yeah.
The
You had
Mexican-
children when you were 12.
yeah.
The Mexican laws have a lot of things about clergy.
Oh, because they're mostly Catholic, right?
Catholic,
Or
yeah.
traditionally they are because they were conquered by the Spanish.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
example, no
Spain.
fireworks may be thrown by hand during Holy Week.
Wait, they can't be?
They cannot throw fireworks by hand during Holy Week.
Oh, so no holding Roman candles. You gotta stick them in a bucket of sand.
There you go.
There you go.
That's that. When I grew up, whenever we had Roman candles, we had to stick them in a bucket of sand because my parents wouldn't let us hold them.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a picture of Brad somewhere on the internet.
Yeah. Actually, I think it got removed.
Oh, you actually removed it from the internet.
No, I didn't. I think
Oh.
the parent who took it did.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Yeah. Got to give those tips to what's her name at the Super Bowl,
What?
the Super Bowl halftime chick from a few years back.
Kate Underwood
No,
or
uh,
the country singer?
no.
The one that's like, wait,
That
no,
was a
they.
Cher. Was it
Carrie
Cher?
Underwood?
Okay, that's what I was looking for.
The one that was going like with the Illuminati.
Beyonce?
Yeah, Beyonce.
Oh,
She
Wait.
tried to get that picture removed from the internet.
oh.
It didn't work very well.
Well,
She,
well,
is, she is Illuminati, though.
Yeah, we figured that out.
oh, we could talk about Illuminati
Next week.
next
Where's
week.
that? Didn't you have a notepad that we very first started with on like the first couple of episodes?
Yes, it's in the house.
That's got some.
We should look at it. Yeah. But anyway, so can I tell this story?
What story?
The story about the Roman candle.
Yes.
So in high school, I was dating this girl, and went over to her house for 4th of July, and we had fireworks, and we were doing stuff, and her mother was a photographer, and so she's taking all these cool pictures, like long exposure pictures. We were doing the sparklers, and writing stuff, and they turned out pretty cool. But she had this younger sister who was only like 8 or something, and I wasn't thinking. I was a stupid high school student, and this little 8-year-old girl walks up to me with a Roman candle and says, "Can you light me?" And I was like, "Okay." And I lit her Roman candle, and she turns around and points it in the air. And Roman candles, you have to kind of wait for the fuse to go down, and then it goes off.
Yeah.
So she's sitting there, and then she turns around and points it right at my face.
It's not working.
Yeah, and she says, "It's not working." And I grabbed her hand and pointed it to the sky, and it shot off, and was like so close
There's
to hitting my
literally
face.
a picture of the
Yeah.
holding
And
the
then-
arm
yeah.
with the firework going past his face.
Yeah.
like
I wanna
this
see this
far
picture.
away.
There's this long exposure picture of me holding her arm like this, and this like light spark show is like going right by my face, and I'm like bending backwards, avoiding it, and I grabbed her hand and I pointed it the other direction. I was like, "Hold it this way," and then her mom came over to me and was like, "That was dumb." And I said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking." And so I don't think I lit any other fireworks that night.
I want to see this picture.
Well, last
Pretty
time
incredible.
last time I checked, it's not on social media anymore, but it used to be.
Does it still exist somewhere?
Yeah,
Maybe.
you should put it on your wall. Like, make a big, huge copy of it.
Yeah, but her mom took it and put it on Facebook, and then took a copy of it and drew a red circle with a cross through it, and I was like, "Don't do this," and put it on Facebook. Yeah, I was dumb, but it ended up being a really cool, really scary picture.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing that picture.
Okay, I'll see if I
If
can
she's
find it.
listening, you should hit us up.
Yeah.
Bone shakers, safety bicycles, and other similar machines are banned from the center of town. So any of your rigs are banned from the center of town.
Wait, whoa, read it again. What?
Bone shakers, like his vehicles, safety bicycles, and other similar machines are banned from the center of town.
Wait, but what's a bone shaker? I don't think a loud car is a bone shaker.
No, I'm talking about like jalopies that just shake your bones real bad.
So
like I
your
have that.
truck is banned too.
Yep. I don't want to go to a center of Mexico.
Huh. Okay. Well, that means Nick's car's probably banned too.
Speaking of that, the drive shaft is getting worse.
Oh goodness.
Didn't you get a new bushing for it? I thought you were going to do that, but it was too cold.
I did, but it doesn't have one of those bushings.
Oh.
It's just
Then is it-
metal to metal.
Oh.
And
Is it
what's
your
wrong is
U joint?
No, it's not the U joint. There's a center support bearing for the drive shaft. It's like halfway down.
Yeah.
And that's wore out.
Oh.
And so my drive shaft's very unbalanced, and it just gets worse and worse as I drive it. And for some reason, it was really bad today on the way here.
Okay. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. Do you want to finish us out with a quote, Mr. Nick?
No, but I will say, check out our Patreon. Check that out.
Oh, yeah. www.patreon.com/finishedbusinesspodcast.
Oh, we have a new podcast dog. It's sleeping right now, though. So
Yeah. Yep, we have a puppy named Kita. She is the podcast dog, officially. But she is asleep right now, otherwise we would show her off. Yes.
Next time we'll have her bark for those who aren't watching.
She hasn't ever barked yet.
Ever?
hasn't figured that one
No.
out.
She's whined a bit, but she hasn't barked yet.
So she hasn't had her first word.
No, she has not spoken. She's not spoke her first words. She does know how to walk.
Well, that's lucky.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Jake, close us out with a quote.
Oh goodness.
You can't use the same one you used last week, so you're in
Yeah.
trouble.
How about speak softly and carry a big stick?
That's good.
And
Not
we
too
had
big,
to
though.
share the stick.
That was good.
Or
We
was
had
it
2
the
rocks and a stick, and we had to share the stick.